Hello, I am preparing these videos according to IM scores. There may be changes in the scores. Which is your rank? You can write in the comments. Thank you. Number 10. Fury. In April 1945, as the Allies make their final push in the European theater, a battle-hardened army sergeant named Wardity commands a Sherman tank and his 5-man crew on a deadly mission behind enemy lines. Outnumbered, outgunned, and with a rookie soldier thrust into their platoon, Wardity and his men face overwhelming odds in their heroic attempts to strike at the heart of Nazi Germany. Number 9. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Taking place in Missouri in the early 1880s, the film dramatizes the last 7 months in the life of famed outlaw Jesse James, beginning with the Blue Cut train robbery of 1881 and culminating in his assassination at the hands of Robert Ford the following April. In the time between these two fateful events, the young and jealous Ford befriends the increasingly mistrustful outlaw, even as he plots his demise. Number 8. Babel. 4 interlocking stories connected by a single gun converge at the end to reveal a complex, tragic story of the lives of humanity around the world and how we truly aren't all that different. In Morocco, a troubled married couple are on vacation trying to work out their differences. Meanwhile, a Moroccan herder buys a rifle for his sons so they can keep the jackals away from his herd. A girl in Japan dealing with rejection, her mother's death, her father's emotional distance, her own self-consciousness, and a disability, deals with modern life in the enormous metropolis of Tokyo, Japan. On the opposite side of the world, the married couple's Mexican nanny takes the couples to children with her to her son's wedding in Mexico, only to meet trouble on the return trip. Combined, it provides a powerful story and an equally powerful looking glass into the lives of seemingly random people around the world, and it shows just how connected we really are. Number 7. Moneyball. Oakland A's GM Billy Beane is handicapped with the lowest salary constraint in baseball. If he ever wants to win the World Series, Billy must find a competitive advantage. Billy is about to turn baseball on its ear when he uses statistical data to analyze and place value on the players he picks for the team. Number 6. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. On the day that Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans, elderly Daisy Williams Nee Fuller is on her deathbed in a New Orleans hospital. At her side is her adult daughter, Caroline. Daisy asks Caroline to read to her aloud the diary of Daisy's lifelong friend, Benjamin Button. Benjamin's diary recounts his entire extraordinary life, the primary unusual aspect of which was his aging backwards, being diagnosed with several aging diseases at birth, and thus given little chance of survival, but who does survive and gets younger with time. Abandoned by his biological father, Thomas Button, after Benjamin's biological mother died in childbirth, Benjamin was raised by Queenie, a black woman and caregiver at a senior's home. Daisy's grandmother was a resident at that home, which is where she first met Benjamin. Although separated through the years, Daisy and Benjamin remain in contact throughout their lives, reconnecting in their 40s when in age they finally match up. Some of the revelations in Benjamin's diary are difficult for Caroline to read, especially as it relates to the time past. This reconnection between Benjamin and Daisy, when Daisy gets older and Benjamin grows younger into his childhood years. Number 5. 12 Monkeys. James Cole, a prisoner of the state in the year 2035, can earn parole if he agrees to travel back in time and thwart a devastating plague. The virus has wiped out most of the Earth's population, and the remainder live underground because the air is poisonous. Returning to the year 1990, 6 years before the start of the plague, Cole is soon imprisoned in a psychiatric facility because his warnings sound like mad ravings. There he meets a scientist named Dr. Catherine Rayleigh and Jeffrey Goins, the mad son of an eminent virologist. Cole is returned by the authorities to the year 2035 and finally ends up at his intended destination in 1996. He kidnaps Dr. Rayleigh in order to enlist her help in his quest. Cole discovers graffiti by an apparent animal rights group called the Army of the 12 Monkeys, but as he delves into the mystery, he hears voices, loses his bearings, and doubts his own sanity. He must figure out if Goins, who seems to be a raving lunatic, holds the key to the puzzle. Number 4. Snatch. Turkish and his close friend or accomplice Tommy get pulled into the world of match fixing by the notorious Bricktop. Things get complicated when the boxer they had lined up gets badly beaten by Mickey, who comes into the equation after Turkish. An unlicensed boxing promoter wants to buy a caravan off of travelers. They then try to convince Mickey not only to fight for them, but to lose for them too. Whilst all this is going on, a huge diamond heist takes place, and a fistful of motley characters enter the story, including Cousin AVI, Boris the Blade, Frankie Four Fingers, and Bullet Tooth Tony. Things go from bad to worse as it all becomes about the money, the guns, and the damned dog. Number 3. Inglourious Basterds. In German-occupied France, young Jewish refugee Shosanna Dreyfus witnesses the slaughter of her family by Colonel Hans Landa. Narrowly escaping with her life, she plots her revenge several years later, when German war hero Friedrich Zoller takes a rapid interest in her and arranges an illustrious movie premiere at the theater she now runs. With the promise of every major Nazi officer in attendance, the event catches the attention of the Bastards, a group of Jewish-American guerrilla soldiers led by the ruthless Aldo Rain. As the relentless executioners advance and the conspiring young girl's plans are set in motion, their paths will cross for a fateful evening that will shake the very annals of history. Number 2. 7. A film about two homicide detectives' desperate hunt for a serial killer who justifies his crimes as absolution for the world's ignorance of the 7 deadly sins. The movie takes us from the tortured remains of one victim to the next as the sociopathic John Doe sermonizes to detectives Somerset and Mills one sin at a time. The sin of gluttony comes first, and the murderer's terrible capacity is graphically demonstrated in the dark and subdued tones characteristic of film noir. Default text seasoned and cultured but jaded Somerset researches the 7 deadly sins in an effort to understand the killer's modus operandi, while the bright but green and impulsive detective Mills Pitt scoffs at his efforts to get inside the mind of a killer. Number 1. Fight Club. A nameless first-person narrator attends support groups in attempt to subdue his emotional state and relieve his insomniac state. When he meets Marla Helena Bonham Carter, another fake attendee of support groups, his life seems to become a little more bearable. However, when he associates himself with Tyler, he is dragged into an underground fight club and soap-making scheme. Together, the two men spiral out of control and engage in competitive rivalry for love and power.